This program was pre-recorded.
You've entered the Fletch Nation with Roy Fletcher, political analyst and socio-political prophet, and Kevin Gallagher, TV and podcast host and opinionated jackhole. So settle in, grab a beverage. It's time to talk some politics. It's Fletch Nation. Now here are the boys.
And hello. Thank you so very much. Look, turn around, you're on TV.
There you go. There she is.
Bless her sweetheart. Welcome to Fletch Nation. We are coming at you live from the Old School Barbecue Smokehouse here on Coursey Boulevard in Baton Rouge.
Give me the address, Kevin.
Actually, we're not live. We're pre-recording this
Give me
on
the
Wednesday.
address, Kevin.
Is 10655 Coursey Boulevard.
I'm impressed.
10655. Don't always get it, man.
I know.
But, man, the reason we call Old School Barbecue Smokehouse is it is really old school, tasty, yummy, delicious. The brisket's cooked forever.
It's like your grandfather used to make.
The bourbon baked beans made fresh every day. The barbecue sauce is made every day.
Speak, Kevin, speak.
It's good stuff. Now I want a sandwich.
Well, Kevin, I guess we're not going to start with the Ole Miss LSU game, but we'll move on past that.
I'm sorry, behavior of the fans rushing the field like that and costing the school $250,000. Come on. You know, I mean, I'm happy for a win, but you don't do that.
I don't know that it was a signature win that deserved running on the field.
Thank you. It's not like it was a divisional championship.
No, if it had been Alabama, I would have taken the field, okay?
Sure.
I would have just picked up the grass and ate it. But given that it wasn't, it was just Ole Miss, who cares? Then
go to hell, Ole Miss, go to hell.
Yeah, well, whatever. So, Kevin, I think maybe we can start with, this has been debate week.
Yep.
And I want to give you an admonition that Rush Limbaugh once gave. And he said, you get down late in campaigns, don't even look at the polls anymore. Don't look at it, because what Rush's point was they're likely all rigged. And I'm going to take that admonition of Rush Limbaugh to heart, and I'm not going to discuss polls today. So what I am going to discuss, however...
Well, we're not going to discuss polls. I was getting my polling data up, man.
Well,
so
you
I
can pull it up if you want to, but the truth of the matter is I'm not going to discuss it today. Because if we do, we're going to be doing exactly what he said not to do.
Well,
and I won't do what Rush said not to do. So the point, though, is that there have been a number of debates over the last 2 weeks or week. And the good thing about the internet is we get to watch them. And we get to see them. And we've had some really doozies of debates. I will say this much, that the debates may not influence anybody. On the other hand, I think they have an impact to some extent, in some ways. They help change the narrative, they help change the focus, they help change some things with respect to how people see the campaign.
I think if you're an undecided voter, regardless of what letter comes after your name on the voter rolls, if you're undecided in the race, seeing those candidates face off can
and those people
push one side of the fence or the other.
And those people are the least likely to even watch anyway. But I would say this.
That's a good point.
I would say this, is that those people are going to hear the spin that comes out of those debates. Now, let's take, for example, last night in the state of New York, Lee Zeldin and Governor
Kathy Hochul,
all right, they got it on up there. And Zeldin, from what I was able to see, put her on the defensive from the beginning in terms of crime and in terms of cost of living, etc. It seems as if that the local issue of crime has become a national issue that relates to Democrats in general. And in New York City, they've had their damn share of it, as they have in Buffalo and a number of other, well, every large city in New York. And so Zeldin, in my opinion, from what I saw of, did a heck of a job. He stood on the stage with the governor, and he made a retreat. He made her dodge and weave and bob and basically lie in some cases, particularly as it related to crime. And so I think that Zeldin comes out of that thing with a narrative of this guy has a chance to win. This guy is aggressive. This guy can be a governor that we can vote for, even if we're a Democrat, because we don't like the crime that's been bought by the Democrats in New York City and in other places. That's my sense of that. But the big one, though, last night was in Pennsylvania with John Fetterman and Mehmet Oz, and with the press that refused to call Oz, who is a medical doctor, while they'll call Jill Biden doctor because she has a EED in education, whatever the hell it is.
Yeah.
But
in other words, they just wouldn't give him his propers.
No, they wouldn't give him proper. But the debate was, and I didn't get to see all of it, and I did get bits and pieces just like everybody else. But this was a disaster for John Fetterman. It was a disaster.
Well, I think John Fetterman's a disaster.
Yes. That people talked about how his health was obviously the issue in this debate, but I thought his policies were worse than his ability not to his cognitive ability.
Oh yeah, he's to the left of Bernie Sanders.
Absolutely,
he's way out there,
and he tries not to be, but the press didn't even let him get away with it, which kind of surprised me, in the sense that on the fracking question was a huge question in that debate, and he bungled the answer because he had said before that he was against fracking, and suddenly last night he stumbled around and tried to change that. So the narrative that comes out of that debate was, one, is that he's cognitively challenged because of the stroke, but two is that perhaps he's not right for, and what happened was Mehmet Oz was very concise, very to the point, and did not sound like a radical that they wanted him to be. He actually sounded reasonable as opposed to John Fetterman. That was what I saw last night. Your comment?
Well, I think that successful Republicans in this cycle, whether they're running for governor, and I think we're going to see some states flip on governor. I do.
I may see one flip to Democrat, too. Oklahoma. That's a very close race in Oklahoma.
I want to talk about that, but I think that what we're seeing here more recently, especially as we're getting down to the 11th hour of the campaigns, is we're seeing less hardcore Republican talking points and more common sense American talking points. Do you want a better life? Do you want a safer life? Do you want to pay less? Do you, and instead of preaching the GOP, gospels, they're more or less trying to appeal to people that just don't like the way things are.
I think it is the GOP gospel is what they're preaching. It just happens to be it changed. If you remember back, and we'll take a break in a minute, and we'll go back to this in a moment and talk about it some more. But if you remember back in the summer, I was very down about how the Republicans did not have message control whatsoever.
Sure.
And they have changed that. And we'll be back in a moment and maybe take some change out of you with our commercials.
Be right back, Fletch Nation.
And
this is where you cut to commercials.
Get Premier Pest. PremierPestServices.com.
Hi, I am Dr. Farrell Frugier Jr., and I am a general dentist at Frugier Family Dentistry. I was born and raised in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I went to Catholic High School, LSU, and LSU School of Dentistry in New Orleans, where I received my DDS degree in 1986. I always have and will continue to be committed to continuing my education, to invest in technology which makes the diagnosis and delivery of dentistry more thorough, more comfortable, and more aesthetically pleasing. In our practice, we are here to serve the patients. We want to improve their quality of life and to develop relationships with our patients. In dentistry, we have a chance to impact lives on a daily basis, not just by doing dentistry, but by getting to know them and being a part of their life. We also believe in giving back to our community. So every year, we give back to the Greater Baton Rouge Food Bank, Toys for Tots, and Mary Bird Perkins Cancer Center. Please stop by and visit our office. We would love to take care of you and your family.
Every great story starts with the rush of thrilling gaming action. Handcrafted flavors, eager to please. Getaways for some well-deserved me time. And rewards worth bragging about. If it's a story worth telling, it starts at La Berge Baton Rouge. What's your story?
Your favorite season is back, and now's the time you can score savings at the Team Automotive Group. You can sell your vehicle to us, and we'll pay you top value. Or buy here and get a 90-day warranty on the purchase of a pre-owned vehicle. Score VIP service and save at every location of the Team Automotive Group.
Visit Treads & Care Tire Company's new location on Hooper Road in Central. Locally owned for over 50 years, Treads & Care is known for quality automotive repair and top-notch customer service.
I'd like to invite you to come out and see us at our new location in Central.
No one can stop me when I taste the feeling. Nothing could ever bring me down. Nothing could ever bring me down. Taste the feeling.
Caught spiders.
Premier Pest Services.
Welcome back to Fletch Nation. Glad to have you with us. Roy Fletcher over there, Kevin Gallagher over here. When we went to break, we were talking about message and how the Republicans seem to have gotten on message, but the message is somewhat changed.
Yeah, I don't know. Back in the summer, it tended to be gas prices and inflation, and it started to work for it. Then the gas prices started going down, and things kind of got ugly for them. But now they're on a message that is very clear, and that is what it takes to live in America in terms of money, what it takes to live in America and to buy food, to buy gas, to buy it all, medicine, the whole deal. And the Republicans now are talking about things in a sensible, non-ideological, here's what you have to do to live kind of way. And it's working for them. Plus there's been an issue that has arisen that was there, has been there for a good while, but they finally recognized the impact of this issue. You know, it's the whole crime thing. And crime has become so, especially violent crime, has become so prevalent that the Republicans have been able to use that almost as a wedge issue. It's kind of strange, but I mean, there are a lot of Democrats that fear for their lives too, but it seems like they don't fear nearly as much as other people do. I don't, it's like it's politically incorrect to be against crime. So with some Democrats.
But see, I think that the message, as it's changed and how it's morphed over the weeks, has become more a message of unity, because it's what unites us. You know, whereas the Democrats still dwell on how we're idealistically different.
Well, yeah, and I mean, or ideologically different at least. But I do think that the crime issue is something that and here's the deal. When it comes to inflation, when it comes to the economy, when it comes to crime, when it comes to immigration, Republicans beat Democrats. When you ask which party's best for it, Republicans beat Democrats. In fact, Republicans tied Democrats, or actually beat them, on the issue of education now, which is kind of wild in and of itself. So we're seeing great changes. We're seeing changes in public opinion, but we're also seeing a party react to it, and that's the Republican Party. I think that's why I think that's one reason why the Republicans are doing much better now. The other reason is, and I want to kind of dwell on this a minute. We heard, and God knows I was worried about it, but we heard for months that Trump was done, that he was going to be indicted, he was going to be this, he was going to be that. Well, I got news for you. Here's what's happened with that. Trump's business has kind of gone underground. He has done the rallies, but he's not allowing the other parts of it to be. DOJ made the play, and the Attorney General of New York made the play. By the way, the last poll in New York is that the Republican running against the Attorney General of New York is ahead by 10 points.
Really?
Yeah. And
these down ballot races are important too.
Yeah, they
really
are. Well, that sends a message to that Attorney General. You've just been fooling around. Absolutely, they are. But the fact is, Trump. But here was the important thing. Is Mitch McConnell made a statement during the summer that, well, we're going to lose the Senate because we don't have good candidates. And this goes back to what we started talking about, which debates. Well, I got to tell you, in the last couple of weeks, Herschel Walker beat expectations by a mile in Georgia.
He took Warnock apart in that
Yes. And the state of Pennsylvania, Mehmet Oz, Dr. Oz, took this guy Fetterman apart. In the state of Arizona, Blake Masters had an enormously good debate out there against his opponent, Mark Kelly. And J.D. Vance forged the lead in Ohio about 2 weeks ago because of his debate performance. The point of it is the very people that Mitch McConnell was talking about, the very people that Donald Trump endorsed in the primaries that Mitch McConnell thought could not win in the general are actually performing well above what Mitch might have expected. And all of them right now appear to me to be in the lead or dead heat, which is, and I'll say this one more thing, is that if they sweep those, and including Laxalt in Nevada, if they sweep those, I hate to say this to Mitch, but Donald Trump has more influence in the United States Senate than he does. And that may be the problem. Just saying.
Well, there's a lot of people, myself included, that think Mitch's days are done as an influencer in the Senate. He still holds a position, but how much clout does he really swing? I mean, how big is the end of that golf club?
He holds the position until he don't hold the position, until he's unelected.
Yeah, but holding the position doesn't mean necessarily.
No, it don't mean you have persuasive power.
that the chamber's going to follow you.
That's right. It doesn't mean you're going to have persuasive power, but it's the first test of any power, which is
do you have the title?
Yeah, being reelected by your fellow compatriots in the Senate. And
well, I'm just wondering when his home state's going to turn on him.
Suddenly we may have a race. That's all I'm saying about that. But the fact, though, is that Donald Trump is coming out of this thing. If they sweep those 5 races, Donald Trump is coming out of this thing probably stronger internally in the Republican Party than he's ever been, which is pretty dang amazing. It's a real comeback, and clearly that would give him great impetus to run.
And I'll be
president.
the first to tell you that 4 months ago on this program, I was talking that Trump had a level of toxicity within the party.
And he does. He has a level of toxicity. If you notice, what he has done is to go underwater and not be bellicose, except at his rallies. And his rallies, and this is interesting, CNN won't run his rallies, or Fox won't run. Well, I gotta tell you, if you want to hurt the Republicans more, go run a Trump rally. And the anti-Trumpers will get all fired up in certain states, okay?
You're giving them ideas.
What?
You're giving them ideas.
No, but I
guarantee you somebody's going to be on the phone in 5 minutes going, hey, we need to get Trump on this.
Yeah, we got to get him on a rally. But the point is that the point of it is that he's gone underwater. They've kept that down a lot and allowed these candidates to emerge. and they have emerged. And they're damn good candidates when you finally get down to it.
It's going to be interesting. We're less than 2 weeks away. Early voting's underway in Louisiana. We'll be back, talk about it some more. Fletch Nation returns in 3.
Hi, I'm Bobby Yarborough with Manda Fine Meats. Here at Manda, we know what the folks of South Louisiana love. They love great flavored smoked sausage, delicious deli meats, and specialty items like boudin and andouille sausage. Manda Fine Meats has been providing these products since 1947. We produce them right here in Baton Rouge, so you know you're always getting the freshest product at your local grocery store. Manda Fine Meats. Taste the fresh local flavor in everything we make. Make it Manda every time.
Bolello's Furniture and Appliances, your dependable independent. Depend on us for service, for selection, for price. Get huge Whirlpool savings. Shop now and save on Whirlpool appliances throughout the store. Plus, experience our price match guarantee and ask about special financing.
You can depend on the know-how of people who live appliances every day.
Bolello's Furniture and Appliances, your dependable independent with nationwide buying power.
I owed the IRS $10,000.
The IRS garnished my wages.
They put a lien on my house.
I'm self-employed and didn't report all my income. They claim I owe a lot more than I do.
The IRS is the most powerful collection agency in the world. They do not give up until you pay.
I couldn't sleep. We were being audited. I called Tax Solutions Now, and a great big weight was lifted off my shoulders.
I called Tax Solutions Now, and they got the IRS off my back.
Tax Solutions Now had my wage garnishment lifted in 48 hours.
Tax Solutions Now can get you help. Our agents know the rules, can stop the pain, and get you the best deal.
Tax Solutions Now saved my business.
I qualified for the Fresh Start program. I paid less than I owed.
We connect you with a team of former IRS agents and tax professionals who get the IRS off your back. Time is running out. Call Tax Solutions now.
Call 800-778-4345. 800-778-4345.
The 2022 Mazda CX-5 with iActive all-wheel drive and available turbo engine. It truly ignites the senses.
Save on your new CX-5 right now during the season of discovery at Team Mazda.
Hi gang, Clarence Buggs here, inviting you to come by Old School Barbecue, 10655 Coursey Boulevard, where we tape the show live every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday at 11 o'clock. Come by and feast on news, sports, current events, love of God and country, and lots of common sense, along with some of the best barbecue anywhere on the planet. 10655 Coursey Boulevard, Old School Barbecue, home of the Clarence Buggs Show.
Live and play on the fairway at Greystone Golf and Country Club, a serene, challenging golf destination located in Denham Springs. For tee times and membership opportunities, go to GreystoneCountryClub.com.
Back with Fletch Nation. Thanks so much for watching this week. We opened the show talking about that really interesting New York gubernatorial debate.
Yeah.
Lee Zeldin and the incumbent Kathy Hochul. And, the clips I saw were, she scored a couple of points, but I think that he dominated. Michigan, did you see Gretchen Whitmer and her challenger, whose name is Tudor Dixon, unusual name, Tudor Dixon.
Yes, and Tudor Dixon. Also, one of those people that Trump endorsed in the primary, that everybody said, well, you must be crazy. Here she is. And she's in a very, very close race in Michigan. And she just ate Whitmer's up last night, particularly as it related to how long those kids had been. Yes.
I'm glad you brought that up. That was one of my favorite parts.
Yes.
Because a lot of discussion was how long the schools were closed because of the pandemic and the damage it did education and children in general.
Yes.
And Governor Whitmer didn't tell the truth.
She just absolutely lied beyond belief, and it really caused. I think Dixon helped herself tremendously last night, and I would not be surprised to see her being elected governor of New York.
I wanted to ask you about that. The likelihood of a win for her, because
it's
also
tough.
I sense some resentment in Michigan because of the draconian COVID restrictions that Governor Whitmer was in charge of.
Plus, Whitmer did all kind of weird stuff. She took a trip to Jamaica or somewhat in the Caribbean when she had everybody else locked down. She then this whole FBI, she was going to be kidnapped thing turned into
big
I think
false
they
flag
got a couple of them, but the fact is that it was obviously kind of a bogus deal with FBI agents involved in it, apparently.
Let's ask these guys if they'll help us kidnap the governor, and then we can arrest them for kidnapping the governor.
The governor, right. Entrapment is what they call that. So I think she has problems. Let's quickly swing and go through these. Right now, I mean, looking at it realistically and based upon just generally how the polling has gone, and where we are now as the polling continues toward election day, which I don't want to look at. But the truth is that you can feel Mehmet Oz has great momentum in Pennsylvania. I think Herschel Walker has the same in Georgia. I think J.D. Vance continues to hold himself in good stead in the state of Ohio, I think. In the state of Arizona, Blake Masters has surged over the last 10 days, and I think that he might be able to pull that out. And in Nevada, we have a very close race with Lexalt and Mateo, or however you say her name, and it's a very close race, but Lexalt has led that race by 1 or 2 or 3% for a good while now. I think that Lexalt is likely to be a winner. Then you turn to the more out there races, the more likely that Democrat would win. But let's give you some. In the state of New Hampshire, based upon recent polling up there, it's a very close race. What they had given up as a loss for Republicans is suddenly now looking more like a potential. If they spend the money, they might be able to do that. So the field is expanding for Republicans. Colorado, I don't think O'Day can win, but he's going to give a good race there. And what he does is, by doing so, he makes the Democrats spend money in Colorado, which was a safe state. And finally, we turn to the one I've talked about, and that's the state of Washington, Tiffany Smiley, which again is a close race. It's going to be too difficult for her to win, but it makes Democrats spend money there because she's so close. Then you get to the governor's race. There's one governor's race, however, that's not playing by the narrative, and that's the governor's race in Oklahoma. Apparently, the Republican governor of Oklahoma has not been a real good governor. I'm not saying he's been a bad guy. I have not been able to find out exactly what the discord is, but apparently he has not been the kind of governor that Oklahoma wanted.
So constituents are sick of him.
Yeah, and so it's a very close race in Oklahoma for governor, which is surprising because Oklahoma is the reddest state, or one of the reddest states in the country. But then you take Michigan, which is going to be difficult for Dixon to win, but it's a possibility. Zeldin in New York. All of these places, when the field expands, means the money gets spread wider, which means they can't focus the money on a couple of single shots. And that helps Republicans. That helps them a lot. The House, I've heard upwards of 40 seats now. I don't believe that. I still think that it's 25. That's my number. Because they won 15 last time, then 20. I think this time they add 25 to it and you get your 40. But you get it that way, not in a big. So is this a wave or not? I don't know. I think it's probably a mixed bag, but I think it's probably a mixed bag leaning toward the Republicans. Leaning pretty heavily. But it's not a wave yet. It's not where you just blow everybody out.
We have, I think, one more full segment before we go to John Carmouche this week, but And so I'll start the conversation now. During one of our earlier breaks, I said, have you noticed that there seems to be a dearth of any brilliance among Democratic candidates?
I think their candidates, unlike what Mitch said about Republicans, I think the candidates among Democrats are very poor this time, and all over the country. All over the country.
Including some of the incumbents.
Yes, including some of the incumbents. Here's one example. Rhode Island, the governor of Rhode Island is a Democrat in a very Democratic state. She's had to bring in Jill Biden to help her. She's not Patty Murray is a bad candidate, the state of Washington. I mean, there are others that are just not good candidates. There's a candidate in Florida against Rubio's just don't have it. And so I think the Democrats, not only have bad candidates, but they have not conceptualized this race very well. They thought they put all of their marbles in the basket of abortion, and it has not paid off. And now we're getting very late, which means they may abort that strategy. We'll be right back in just a moment.
Fletch Nation.
Got termites? Get Premier Pest. PremierPestServices.com.
Hi, I'm Katie, Operation Manager here at Old School Barbecue. We're excited about all of the changes here at Old School, and we'd like to invite everyone to come out and enjoy some delicious barbecue at Old School prices. We feature brisket, chicken, ribs, sausage, and the Boss Hog pulled pork sandwich voted best deal in town. We also have live music Friday and Saturday from 7 to 10 p.m. 10655 Coursey Boulevard. We can't wait to see you.
Hello guys, it's Debbie. It's time. I've got a brand new location. 10510 Airline Highway, Baton Rouge, next to After 5 Tuxedos. We have the perfect spot to get all your wedding and formal wear needs. Come see our one-of-a-kind name brand and get great prices. With 30 years experience, the best customer service anywhere. It's Debbie's Bridal, Airline Highway, Baton Rouge. See you soon.
Hi, I am Dr. Farrell Frugier Jr., and I am a general dentist at Frugier Family Dentistry. I was born and raised in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I went to Gallagher High School, LSU, and LSU School of Dentistry in New Orleans, where I received my DDS degree in 1986. I always have and will continue to be committed to continuing my education, to invest in technology which makes the diagnosis and delivery of dentistry more thorough, more comfortable, and more aesthetically pleasing. In our practice, we are here to serve the patients. We want to improve their quality of life and to develop relationships with our patients. In dentistry, we have a chance to impact lives on a daily basis, not just by doing dentistry, but by getting to know them and being a part of their life. We also believe in giving back to our community. So every year, we give back to the Greater Baton Rouge Food Bank, Toys for Tots, and Mary Bird Perkins Cancer Center. Please stop by and visit our office. We would love to take care of you and your family.
Hey everybody, I'm Kevin Gallagher. This is Roy Fletcher. We hope you'll join us for Fletch Nation, especially if you like talking politics.
Hey, come and join us. We'll give you the information, and then we'll give you the context. And by the way, we'll give you fun too.
Lots of fun. We hit the local races, the state. We even look at what's going on all across America. And by the way, this space is available. If you'd like to talk about advertising, send your emails to Roy Fletcher at royfletcher.com and join us every week here on the Pelican for Fletch Nation.
Your favorite season is back, and now's the time you can score savings at the Team Automotive Group. You can sell your vehicle to us, and we'll pay you top value. Or buy here and get a 90-day warranty on the purchase of a pre-owned vehicle. Score VIP service and save at every location of the Team Automotive Group.
Caught spiders? Premier Pest Services.
Hey, welcome back to Fletch Nation. Coming up later in the program, we're going to have another one of our conversations with coastal lawyer John Carmouche, brilliant man.
Let's talk about that a minute. The John Carmouche thing, because there's been a lot of activity with respect to the coast over the last few days. Last week I talked about the Fifth Circuit ruling in a case that Carmouche firm had bought, that and the Attorney General frankly had intervened in favor of the Carmouche firm to bring those cases back to Louisiana and not allow them in federal court, and they won that thing, overwhelming decision, unanimous decision in the federal Fifth Circuit Court of Appeal. So the cases are coming back to Louisiana. Yesterday or day before, I can't remember which, Freeport-McMoRan, which about 2 years ago had talked about entering into a settlement with the state of Louisiana over minor damage that it had done on the coast, but significant damage. And yesterday they signed an agreement to enter into this negotiated agreement and settlement for $100 million.
Wow.
And it will be paid out over a significant period of time, like 20 years. But the point of it is, it's an actual cash flow of $5 million a year that'll go into the coast. They are a very minor actor, a very responsible actor, Freeport-McMoRan, but a very minor actor in all of this. Because we're talking about a whole lot of money, but $100 million is a lot of money to everybody else. But the fact is that it only begins to nibble at anything down there. But the specific, real and provable damages that Freeport-McMoRan had, they're going to address it now.
Good for them.
Yeah, good for them.
And I've said many times, this thing about the oil and gas industry and damage to the coast, environmental damage and coastal erosion, they're not all bad actors in this thing. Some companies have been great. They've been great all along because they're operated ethically. And there's some that you kind of got to bend an arm behind your back.
Well, that's right.
Make them do what's right.
Make them do what's right, and what's right is that, and to save a lot of people a lot of time, and probably to save themselves a significant amount of money, it would probably be best if those companies went ahead and joined Freeport-McMoRan, and all of them negotiated a settlement and get this over with, so the money can start flowing. It'll flow over a significant period of time, but the money can start flowing so plans can be made and projects and repairs can be started now. And that would give the coast a fighting chance for certain. And we are battling for the life of the coast. There's no question about that. That's what's happening.
It's a huge. I mean, we all hear that thing about it. You know, was it like the equivalent of a football field every 30 minutes or something like? And that people tend to just laugh that off now. They hear it so often. But if you look at it another way, our coastline has retreated by about 3 feet in just a matter of about 15 years.
Yeah, it's significant. I mean, what's happening is significant. We're losing a lot, and it's going to take a lot of money because there's been a lot of damage. There's just been a lot of damage. And this is not, it really comes down to this, ultimately. If it gets to be worse, sooner or later, some politician's going to say, well, let's tax everybody in order to fix it. Because what we've done here is sit around and waited on the federal government to give us money. They've given us some, but it's, again, a drop in the bucket. But somebody's going to say, let's tax everybody.
Well, but this tax and spend.
But the fact is, the people who did the damage are not the taxpayers. It's the companies themselves.
You also reach that point where you can't squeeze blood out of a rock. If you squeeze the taxpayer so much,
we're squeezing the taxpayers of Louisiana pretty good now. I mean, I keep hearing, oh, well, we're not terribly taxed. Well, you look at our sales tax and tell me we're not terribly taxed as compared to everybody else. We are taxed heavily, and Our property taxes are, because of homestead exemption, we get. But the truth is that we have a state income tax system, and we have a very high sales tax. The states that are growing, Texas, Florida, Tennessee, those states, they do not have state income taxes. And their sales taxes are not as high as ours. Now, Texas has a high property tax. It just does. I mean, my daughter lived there in Dallas-Fort Worth, and I couldn't believe what they paid on property tax.
I think their homestead exemption is teeny.
Huh?
It's teeny. The homestead exemption.
It's not.
I think where we get like 75.
They're having political fights over that property tax in Texas, and rest assured, one of the things that will come out of this election is somebody is going to be about reducing property taxes in Texas.
Yep. Well, and there's movement afoot now. I mean, Richard Nelson, the lawmaker from over North Shore way, House of Representatives, State House of Representatives, has got panel hearings to discuss tax reforms, including doing some kind of a tax swap and doing away with state income tax.
Yeah, and the tax reform has a bad word for me in Louisiana, because the reform is always big business gets not to pay, and small business and regular people have to pay, so big business can get a tax break. Yeah. I hate to say it, because every time it's always, well, we can't tax these big companies coming here because they won't come. Well, I got news for you. If you will be steady and regular and it be consistent, yes, they will, if you use your money to educate people and do the things and build better highways and do the things that you need. And I think taxation is one of the smaller things that big companies consider when they come to a state. I think there's a lot of other things they consider. The other thing that we have here is oil and gas and plenty of it. And plenty of it.
But for how long before they won't let us use it anymore?
Well, I don't know. I see that the solar industry is there. The electric car industry is invested money. The federal government is invested money for the electric car industry in Louisiana. I wonder why they're doing that, folks. Could it be that we're one of the top producers in oil and gas in the country, and they kind of want to mitigate a little bit of the problem?
They want to diversify our revenue sources.
Yes, they might want. That might be one of their little angles. Who knows? I don't know. I mean, I see ghosts everywhere, Kevin. But one thing we have learned is that conspiracy theories have a very short lifespan, because in about 2 weeks, if you wait around, the conspiracy will turn into reality.
Well, that much is certain, especially here locally in East Baton Rouge Parish.
Yes, that's true.
We may touch on that in our final segment.
Yes,
We're also going to have another visit with John Carmouche. That's coming up next on Fletch Nation.
Live and play on the fairway at Greystone Golf and Country Club, a serene, challenging golf destination located in Denham Springs. For tee times and membership opportunities, go to GreystoneCountryClub.com.
Sometimes life is wonderful, and sometimes it's not. Cherish the good, but always be prepared for life's challenges. At Private Healthcare, we provide the peace of mind you deserve. With Private Healthcare, you'll get the coverage you want and healthcare you need. If your employer doesn't supply healthcare coverage and you don't qualify for Medicare or Medicaid, you need to give us a call right now. Private Healthcare is private health insurance for ages 65 and under with medical, dental, vision, and even prescription coverage. When life comes at you unexpectedly, you need to be ready. And health insurance is your financial safety net. Health insurance has never been so easy and affordable. If you're looking for health coverage at the best price and your annual household income is $35,000 or more, call the number on the screen now and speak with a live healthcare consultant. Don't wait. Get the coverage you need now.
Every great story starts with the rush of thrilling gaming action. Handcrafted flavors, eager to please. Getaways for some well-deserved me time. and rewards worth bragging about. If it's a story worth telling, it starts at La Berge Baton Rouge. What's your story?
Tremonti's has meat. Tremonti's has seafood. Tremonti's has much more. Tailgating and home gating platters. Huge wine and liquor selection. Beer and all the spices you need. Chairman Reserve and Wagyu meats. Ribeye rolls, shrimp rolls, kebabs. 20 flavors of sausage for the grill. Daily lunch specials and game processing. On-site catering also available. Good meat ain't cheap and cheap meat ain't good. Visit Tremonti's.com.
You can't smell it, but you can almost taste it. And whether it's for a family get-together or a game day feast, having Manda in the mix always sounds good. For 3 generations, their quality meats and original seasonings have made Manda a Louisiana legend and made their family sausage Louisiana's family sausage. Manda Fine Meats. The flavor says it all.
Treads & Care Tire Company announces its new location on Hooper Road in Central. Locally owned for 50 years, Treads & Care is known for quality automotive repair with top-notch customer service. Treads & Care offers the convenience of shuttle service and pickup and delivery of your vehicle. You can also enjoy the comfortable customer area, complete with workstations, high-speed internet, and a complimentary coffee bar.
I'd like to invite you to come out and see us at our new location in Central.
Treads & Care, the tires you need and the service you want.
All right, back to Fletch Nation. Just a couple of moments here before we go to John Carmouche. Roy.
Kevin, we had a conspiracy theory became reality in Baton Rouge, and then suddenly was denied, right?
Yes.
Just called the wastewater assessment fee.
Yeah, the stormwater utility fee. That's what
it was called.
Anyway, this thing was
stormwater. I keep forgetting.
This thing was millions and millions and millions of dollars that was going to be assessed.
$500 million over 10 years.
Yeah, that was going to be assessed of property owners, both businesses and residences. No vote of the public. It was just going to take. They were going to put it to the Metro Council of the city parish government of East Baton Rouge Parish.
Yeah, but to do that, we had to have a non-disclosure agreement with the Department of Justice that didn't exist.
Yeah.
That was to keep you from finding out what was in the whole deal. That's what conspiracy theories.
The conspiracy theory began with people saying, "What NDA? What do you can't answer a simple question about this thing? What are you talking about an NDA? You have an NDA with a
there it is."
And it came to light in recent days.
Lo and behold,
there was no NDA.
It didn't exist.
The Environmental Protection Agency didn't know anything about it.
Apparently, this was all kind of a manifestation of somebody's head to get a bunch of taxes passed, wouldn't you think?
That's what I think. But,
well, it could be. Yeah, I mean.
Anyway, the mayor president real quickly said, never mind. It was scheduled for the 26th, which is today as we tape this program. Wednesday night, the 26th, the East Baton Rouge Parish Metro Council is supposed to up or down vote it because deadline looming, must act now. She said, no, never mind. I'd like to pull it from the council agenda. Well, only a council member can do that, not the mayor president. So they're going to talk about it tonight. Now, there are no yes votes currently on the Metro Council that I'm aware of. Maybe a couple that are always just, lockstep with the mayor. But there are not enough yes votes to pass this thing, but they still want to talk about it.
Oh, yeah. I think there's probably going to be some people there to talk about it, too.
The Assistant Chief Administrative Officer has fallen on his sword already. And I believe there's going to be discussion tonight about whether or not the city attorney should be asked to step down.
To tell us a little something about it?
No, asked to resign over it.
Oh, I know, Kevin.
We've been snookered.
That would be terrible, wouldn't
it? In a minute, what's your assessment before we go to John?
Oh, there's not going to pass, and they're going to get out of this, and then they're going to figure out a way to come back and present it to us again and do it a little bit differently and blah, blah, blah. And you know what? I think it's crazy.
Somebody just wants it.
I think it's crazy. Go find the money in the budget.
Well, what they need to do
is find the money in that $1 billion budget over there.
We still pay assessments for a library system with 400 employees in East Baton Rouge Parish, 14 libraries, and an $80 million surplus in their coffers right now. let's reassess that assessment.
It's a mess. It's a mess.
Well, Roy, as usual, it's time for us to have our weekly visit with Attorney John Carmouche, and we go to that right now. Take it away, Roy and John.
We're with John Carmouche here talking about all things Louisiana, frankly, and John is a noted coastal and land and environmental lawyer in our state that's had a tremendous impact on the state of Louisiana and the fight for our coast. John, we were talking in the last segment about dramatic change for Louisiana, and you said one of the things that we need is how we deal with business. In terms of what do you think are the kinds of things that we need to be looking at? It relates to bringing business into Louisiana. Hell, they're leaving California. They're going to Florida and they're going to Texas. How about a little something in between here, you know, for the folks, you know? But that's, what do you think?
I think it goes back to what we were talking about, dramatic change. And it all comes together as one, right? If you can't just change the business environment, you can't just change education, you can't just change crime, you have to have it all.
Right.
And to be honest, why shouldn't we? You know, we live in a great state, we have a great environment for businesses. All we have to do is have enough guts to make the dramatic change. And the first thing businesses look at is all of these CEOs they're getting around the country is the first thing to ask is, what's the education like? All of these people have kids and have families. The next thing is, what's the crime like? So
that's not good.
Even though the business, you might give tax deductions to businesses that done in the past, if we don't change the core of what why these families want to move here, they're not going to come. They're not going to come. So you got to change it all. You got to change your education. You got to change. Why is there so much crime here? I mean, come on. This is something that has to be changed, and it can be changed.
Well, one of the things that people may not know about you is that your father was a district attorney for, I think, 6 years down in the 23rd Judicial District. Is that right? Yeah, okay. That's Ascension, Assumption, and St. James parishes, yeah. Don Carmouche. And we have witnessed an extraordinary explosion in violent crime in Louisiana. I mean, what do you think has created this situation, and what do you think we can actually do about something that's so pervasive in our bigger cities in Louisiana?
Well, first, education. Number two is we have to be hard on crime. For some reason, I think we've gotten the concept wrong of we just let people out on bail for smaller amounts. We ignore major crimes in Louisiana. We need people to know here, if you commit a crime, you're going to be punished. And I think we've gotten away from that concept and actually educating kids in these schools. And to be more frank, in the jails and in the prisons. Some of these kids go to jails and prisons and they're there for a year and they're sitting around doing nothing. They work. Why can't we educate them? Not only education school-wise, math, like you talked about, reading.
But culturally.
Culturally, and to understand that when you do these things, you give up the rest of your life and you give up your freedom. There's things that we can do in these prisons and in these jails. I was on the board of the Donaldsonville Marine Institute. It was a program where instead of sending these kids to jail when they were minors, they had an opportunity to go to this program and go to school from 7:30 to 7 at night. A Marine Institute started in Florida, and it was in other states.
It's like the U.S. Marine Institute.
Well, I mean, but it's kind of like that. It's kind of like that.
Yeah, military.
It was a military school.
Yeah.
Not military in nature, but they educated them, and they understood that there's an alternative here, and the alternative is actually living in a way that you can be proud of yourself and be proud of your family and have a family. And a lot of these kids don't realize that that's available to them.
Yeah, and then I guess the other part of it is that you have an entire economy that there has to be opportunity.
There has to be opportunity, and to We've lost big businesses, and I'm not going to mention names, because they couldn't hire the quality of people because they didn't want to come here because of education.
Yeah.
And you know, in schools and places to raise their families.
Yeah. Now, how do you see the whole thing for Louisiana going forward? And not only just the coast, which is what your primary concern is with, but it's sort of the whole thing. What happens if we do the coast? What do we look forward to? What can we look forward to?
Well, first, we need a leader, and we need politicians to quit being politicians and be businessmen and work together. Too many smart people in Louisiana, and actually wake up and fight for what we live for, which is family and culture, right? So we need someone to wake up every morning to fight and go out and seek the best. We deserve the best. And we want the best businesses, we want the best education. We wake up every morning, I see this leadership, and we wake up to mediocrity. And that's been satisfactory for this state. But I think that has to change. It
Different world now, isn't it?
It has to start at the top. And the top, if we don't have a leader, if you don't have a leader in schools, you don't have a leader in politics, you don't have a leader in businesses, it's all the same. People don't realize it. It all starts at the top, and it trickles down, and we need to be fighters. We need to win. And to win, we have to want it. And that's, I think this state now sees we can have it, other states have it, and we can win.
You know, there was a politician that used to have a slogan called "Why Not the Best?" I forget who it was, but needless to say, John, I appreciate you being with us, talking with us, and we'll see you around some more. Thank you, John.
Appreciate it.
Thanks once again, Attorney John Caramouche. It's Kevin. Roy had to step away because it's election season. We're weeks away, and elections is what he does. Campaign coordinator extraordinaire. So for the next 60 seconds or so, it's just you and me. Here's what I'd like to talk about in our last minute. I'd like to talk about opportunities for your business or the business of someone you know. If you like this program and you agree with the content of the program, talk to a friend or talk to us about advertising opportunities. Imagine your logo right down there on either side of that screen. And we would love to talk to you about it. If you're interested, send an email to royfletcher@royfletcher.com, or you can get in touch with us on Facebook. Just look for this, Fletch Nation. And we would be happy to set up a meeting with you and talk to you about some excellent opportunities for advertising your business during Fletch Nation here on Pelican Broadcasting. By the way, the program is seen on no less than 4 cable systems, including all the Cox systems in southern Louisiana. So we're reaching about 1 million households every single week. You can be a part of that with us. Give us a buzz here, Roy Fletcher at royfletcher.com. I'm Kevin Gallagher for Roy Fletcher. We will see you next week on Fletch Nation. Take care.
Listening to Fletch Nation with Roy Fletcher and Kevin Gallagher. Remember, if you heard something that ticked you off, upset your sensibilities, or threatened your precious safe space,
the opinions expressed by the hosts and guests are purely their own and do not reflect those of this radio station or its advertisers.
So if you're calling a lawyer, or planning a boycott, or a cancel campaign, forget about it and join us next week for more Fletch Nation.